Back in Kranjska Gora with a couple of minutes to go. The forerunners are already warming up on the start. And we're awaiting the second run of the Giant Slalom World Cup races here for the IPC Alpine. Here's the start list for the second run of the Giant Slalom. It's going to be started by Ye Rim Yang from Korea, followed by Daniel Umstead of the USA. Eleanor Sana will be third. From Belgium, Stacey Manila up fourth from the USA, and Henrietta Farkasova leading after the first run will take the fifth spot out of the gate. You can already see the first forerunner on course. And the final pitch of the race as he comes in right now. A few turns left. Setting much different than the one in the first run, and the first forerunner has crossed the finish line, so we're now waiting the second forerunner out of the three that are gonna start this race off, and then we're on to the women's giant slalom visually impaired category. You can see the second forerunner in the middle section now, really close to the gate. It's a great opportunity for these younger skiers to gain exposure on such a big race, and a good set by Christian Geiger for the second run. We're already seeing the second forerunner close to the finish line, tucking it in and crossing it. So one more to go, and then we're off as the second run of the race begins. You already see the picture, live picture from the start, where the first competitor, Ye Rim Yang, and her guide Unsori Ko from Korea are warming up to start this thing. Also next to them, Jordi Carbonell, the coach that used to coach the Spanish team but is now working with the Koreans. And in the background you see Rob Umstead, the guide of Daniel Umstead, and the US coach Kevin Jardine. Everybody seems to be ready and eager to start racing the second run here in Kranjska Gora. And Ye Rim Yang now getting closer to that start gate, meaning we're almost ready to start this second run. Ye Rim Yang placing fifth in the first run. From Korea, also the worst ranked out of the 5 visually impaired women on this giant slalom race day. Kranjska Gora, and they have started. You can see him slowly transitioning into the middle part of the course. Some terrain changes in that part make it difficult for the racers. So it's a very technically challenging course here today in Kranjska Gora. Still waiting for Yerim Yang and Unsori Ko to make their way through this middle section, out of this compression and onto the second part. Now here comes the very important part, because this is where a lot of racers took some speed and either carried it through the S-turn on the bottom or not. There is a slightly different set now on top, so racers do pick up some speed and they have to carry it into the final pitch and not lose it until the finish line. Yerim Yang crossing the finish line with a time of combined time of 2:38.69, which is a time to beat for the rest of them. And you see the footage from the start for Rob Umstead and Daniel Umstead from the USA. We've briefly seen Daniel Umstead in the netting, so that's going to be a did-not finish today for Rob Umstead and Daniel Umstead. Hopefully everything is fine with them and there will not be any injuries, but we're still waiting for the start of Eleanor Sana, so the course is still closed and the Umsteads have not yet descended from the race hill. But as the start judge gives the course clear, now we're also ready to start this race for Eleanor Sana. Chloe Sana apparently not guiding Eleanor Sana this time. It's a role taken on by the Belgian coach, who's next to her. Belgium's Eleanor Sana pushes off and she's off to the races, trying to beat the time of 2:38.69 posted by Yerim Yang from Korea. You can now see him here in the middle section going through the compression. And on to the technically challenging part of the course. A couple of rhythm gates, then followed by a longer term that really where the speed really picks up for the competitors and they have to carry it through the S-bend and then onto the last pitch. Some problems for Eleanor Sana as she's going into the final pitch, coming into the spray from her guide, tucking it in, and she's gonna finish her time in combined time of 2:31.50 and takes a 7-second lead. But we're already off to the next racer, which is Stacey Manila and Sadie DeBon guiding her. Stacey Manila racing in the B3 category of the visually impaired women giant slalom and fighting not just for the podium spot but maybe to have a chance and win this race. Stacey having some problems in this technically difficult section, breaking off pretty hardly, so it's going to be a good matchup coming into that last one, and it's going to come down to a few last gates as Stacey Manila tucks everything in. A guide's already through the finish line and Stacey Manila finishes with a 2:28.59, and it's a 2.58 second lead for Stacey Manila, awaiting the last competitor of today's giant slalom visually impaired second run, Henrietta Farkasova and her guide Natalia Subertova. Also a B3, so it should be a pretty close match between the two. Henrietta Farkasova was ranked the best out of the women's visually impaired category coming into this, and she's already on the last pitch, so a couple gates to go and see if we can see if she can win it, tucking it in, and Henrietta Farkasova 2:14.32, a giant 14-second lead, and that wraps up today's race for the women's giant slalom visually impaired category. You can also see on the feed now the Danielle and Rob Umstead are skiing down the race hill, which is good, meaning nobody got injured in their crash today, and that's definitely good news as we go into the next events in the next couple of days. These are the final results of the category. 4 women have finished in their guide, so Henrietta Farkasova takes the win, Stacey Manila second place from the USA, and Eleanor Sana from Belgium in third. We're almost ready also for the women's giant slalom standing category. We're back with the women's giant slalom standing category, and Ursula Pueyo Marimon from Spain is the one to open up this event in the second run. So Ursula skiing in the LW2 category, so 2 outriggers on 1 leg. The races in the LW2 category are truly a manifestation of great balance, charging down the hill at up to 60 miles per hour. We're waiting for Ursula. Now in the middle section, some problems for Ursula, and she crashes out. So that's going to be a did not finish for the Spanish competitor. And up next is Melanie Schwartz from the USA, also the LW2 category. So Melanie took the lead in this one and is the only LW2 left in that category, as Anna Jochimsen crashed in the first run, and now with Ursula Pueyo Marimon also out of the race, she is the last LW2 in this event. So let's see how she does. She's going through this middle section where we saw the DNF from Ursula Pueyo Marimon. As the hill breaks over now into this technically challenging part, where it's really important that you keep a good line and kind of ski through and take as much speed as possible into the final hill. I think Melanie did that wonderfully, and now heading into the final pitch. We'll see how she does on that one. Some problems for her here in the last couple of turns, but she tucks it in and goes for the finish line with a combined time of 2:32.55. It is the time to beat in the women's slalom standing category. You also just saw the footage from the start of Binja Schmidt, who's already entering the challenging part of the course. Binja Schmidt from Switzerland, competing in the LW 5 through 7 3 category. She's not using poles, so she's taking a little more time to actually start it, but she's really fast once she gets going, and she tucks it in, goes for the finish line, and it's 1:28.53, and by 4 seconds Binja Schmidt is the new leader in the women's giant slalom standing category. You see Petra Smarzova now from Slovakia, LW 6 through 8 2 category, which is an arm amputation. Petra skiing with a prosthetic. Really good skiing through this technically challenging section. She really took all the speed she could get, and now it's just a couple of really challenging turns and the last couple of rhythm gates, and Petra will be in the finish line with a combined time of 2:27.21, and it's a 1.3 second lead in front of Binja Schmidt. So Petra Smarzova takes the lead currently in the women giant slalom standing category. Already seeing the footage of the start of Anna Maria Rieder. Who had a very good performance in the first run and is hoping to now repeat it in the second run. Anna Maria Rita now going into the last couple of turns. Is the young German going to make it? And she crosses the finish line with a combined time of 2:25.15 and a 2.06 second lead in the front of Petra Smarzova. Erin Latimer up next, trying to see if she can secure a podium spot for herself. Anna Maria Rita currently in first. And Erin Latimer just storming through this very technically challenging section and onto the last pitch. Everything looks really fast from this racer, and she tucks it in and goes for the finish line. And with a combined time of 2:23.47, it's a 1.68 second lead, and Erin is currently the leading girl in the women giant slalom standing, awaiting the last competitor, Elena Ramsey, also from Canada, so it's going to be a Canadian duel for that gold medal. So Elena Ramsey now going into the last couple of gates here. And then we'll see if it's going to be enough for her to take gold today. She tucks in, crosses the finish line, and her combined time is 1:19.45 and a 4.2 second lead. Elena Ramsey secures the first win here in Kranjska Gora. These are the results for the women giant slalom standing. So Elena Ramsey takes gold, Erin Latimer silver, and Anna Maria Rita from Germany takes bronze. And we're now waiting for the women giant slalom sitting category that's coming up next. Victoria Pendergast now starting off the women giant slalom sitting category. The category has grown quite a bit in the last few years, and it's a very good sign for these ladies who are really charging down mountains fast. Victoria is already in the middle section. Trying to fight her way through this wavy part of the course. You can see the ski losing contact with snow quite a bit, so it's pretty bumpy, but she's onto her final pitch, so a couple of more turns to go, a jump into the red gate, and Victoria fighting to keep her balance on this course. She stays upright and will cross the finish line in time of 2:26.74. That's 2:26.74 for Victoria Pendergast from Australia, who is now waiting the next competitor in her category. This is Ruth Hackspiel from Germany, trying to beat the time of Victoria Pendergast. Ruth racing in the LW101 category. She goes on to the last pitch. Let's see how she does compared to Victoria Pendergast, who's waiting for her competitor in the finish. Ruth Hackspiel takes this matchup with 2:26.39 by only 0.35 seconds and is the new leading in women's giant slalom sitting category. As we're already on to the next one, Momoka Muraoka from Japan. Amazingly clean skiing here through this middle section. And a good line heading into the final pitch. Some problems for Momoka here on the top of the final pitch, but she has a lot of speed going into it and will now challenge Ruth Hackspiel from Germany for her top spot. She's crossing the finish line with a 2:25.80 and a 0.59 second lead. It's going to be a really close race for these ladies, as we're on to just a couple more competitors. Laurie Stevens from USA up next. Laurie, also a good speed skier, knows how to take the speed when she can, and she's coming into the final pitch pretty fast. Lifting the outriggers for maximum speed and 2:23.51 and taking the lead by 2.29 seconds. And now we're on to our final three competitors. Annalena Forster from Germany. Is up first, racing in the LW121 category. She was ranked third between the races heading into today's race, and let's see if she can secure herself a podium spot today in Kranjska Gora. A couple more turns to go. She's gonna fight for it, waiting for that finish line and pushing her hands in front of her, and 2:23.22 and taking the lead by 0.29 seconds. So she's currently in the lead, awaiting the next competitor on course, which is Claudia Lusch from Austria. Some problems for Lusch, obviously, in the middle section. She's continuing on, but she probably lost a lot of speed there, so it's going to be a close race here now with Annalena Forster. Not an ideal line here. Claudia has to fight to stay on course. And coming on to the last couple of gates, let's see how she stacks up with Annalena Forster, the German, currently in the top spot. Just a tuck to go, and Claudia Loesch crosses the finish line, and with a combined time of 2:20.37, takes the lead with a 2.85. And now we're on to the last racer of women's giant slalom sitting. It's Anna Schaffelhuber from Germany, now fighting with the time of Claudia Loesch in securing her lead from the first run. Really nice skiing through that middle section and onto the technical part, and now into the last couple of turns for Anna Schaffelhuber. Let's see how she does. She's gonna tuck as tight as she can, going for the speed, reaching, arms reaching forward, and she takes the win with a 7.66 seconds. So as for the results of this category, women giant slalom sitting, it's Anna Schaffelhuber in first from Germany, Claudia Loesch from Austria in second, and Annalena Forster from Germany in third. We now have the men giant slalom visually impaired category, starting with number 31, Kevin Burton and his guide, Chris Tatsuno, the B2 category from USA. Now, in the middle section, Kevin takes a lot of speed now here from this bend before the final pitch, and his guide Chris Tatsumo now leading him into the finish, where he crosses the finish line and it sets a combined time of 2:18.75, if I'm not mistaken. Up next, Miroslav Haraus on course. Number 28, and his guide Maros Shudik. They're now fighting the last couple of turns to see if they can take the time of Kevin Burton. And Miroslav Haraus crossing the finish line with a time, so with a lead. Oh, sorry, that's going to be a second place for Miroslav Haraus. Number 27 now on course, Jakub Krakow. The B2, also from Slovakia, taking a really tight line here through this challenging section and onto the final pitch. Now we'll see as Jakub and his guide Branislav Brosman cross the finish line, and it's a 5-second lead for the duo, and they will take the first place right now here, as the next competitor is already on course. That is Marek Kubecka, also from Slovakia. Marek Kubecka now going into that last section. Some problems now in this difficultly challenging part of the course. And we'll see if he can indeed take the time of Jakub Krakow. Now just the final finish line left, and 2:35.48, and the last competitor now today, Mac Marcoux. He's guided by Jack Leach, a B3 from Canada. Starting this second run with a 1.6 second lead. Mac Marcoux now into that final couple of gates. Let's see how fast he is. He crosses the finish line, and it's second place for Mac Marcoux. So Marek Kubecka taking the first today. Another competitor up there, Giacomo Bertagnoli, the best ranked skier coming into this race. He had a 3.5 second lead entering that second run. Also his guide, Fabrizio Casal. Really good skiers. You can see the speed and how close they are, how closely they navigate the gates. Really nice line there through the technically difficult section, and a fast switch from one edge to the other. Crossing the finish line, making look effortless as they take the lead today. So the final results of the day: Giacomo Bertagnoli takes first, Marek Kubecka takes second, and Mac Marcoux from Canada taking the third. Number 50 now on course, LW2 from Italy in the men giant slalom. In the men giant slalom standing category, Davide Vendotti. Going through this middle section now is Davide Vendotti. A very nice line and very clean skiing by the LW2 amputee. Davide Vendotti now on the last part of the pitch, but he loses his balance and we'll see now if he will continue or not. No, Davide Vendotti is out, as the next competitor is on course already. Andreas Kurz from Austria. LW4 category, so below the knee amputee, skiing with a prosthetic leg. He's on to the last few gates of today's race, and we'll see how he takes the lead with a 2:18.22. And it sets the timed beat for the rest of the competitors. Up next, number 35, Jamie Stanton. Also a below the knee amputee. Let's see how he does now that he's entering the last part of the pitch onto the finish line. So taking a tuck now is Jamie Stanton with a 2:12.84 and a 5.38 second lead in combined time. So it's been a good race for Jamie Stanton, who now has to await the others coming down a hill. Up first, Martin Wurz from Austria, competing in the LW 6 through 8-2 class. The men's giant slalom standing category, perhaps the closest of them all. Very tiny differences separating all the competitors on all races, so it's always an interesting race to watch as Martin Wurz tucks in and is waiting for the finish line and he takes the lead by 0.04 of a second. So 0.04 of a second ahead is now Martin Wurz, awaiting the next guy. Kirk Schoenstein now on to this last part of the course before the S-turn. There's a really fast switch of direction needed there. Take a lot of speed and then you have to switch the edge really fast, and Kirk manages to do that. So he tucks it in and hopes for the best as he crosses the finish line. So it's not going to be enough. 1.23 seconds behind, and that is enough for third place at the moment. Hiraku Misawa from Japan, crashing out of the top section right somewhere near the start. So that's going to be a did not finish for Misawa from Japan. And on the start already, the next competitor, Robin Kusch. Robin Kusch started off the second one with a 1.32 second lead in front of the currently leading Martin Wurz. So let's see how he does in the second run. He's onto the wave sections. Very nice and clean skiing up there. Ooh, really tight there through that bend and taking a lot of speed. So we'll see if it's going to be enough for Robin from Switzerland. He tucks it in, really powering for that line, and 2:10.6 is his time with a 2.2 second. He takes the lead and is now the currently leading man in the giant slalom standing category. Up next, another Austrian, number 42, Markus Salher, LW 981 category. He comes from a ski area near Kranjska Gora, and his dad is also a ski coach. So it's a very important thing for this family. The skiing and Marcus now fighting to have the good result for today. 109.41 is enough for 1.19 second lead for Marcus. And the next one is Martin France from Slovakia. He had 900ths of a second in front of Salher in the first run. So it should be a tight matchup between the two. France now just a couple of turns away from the finish line, really taking that tuck and wins the matchup with 0.2 second advantage. Theog Mur from Switzerland up next. Number 38. 300ths of a second lead only in the first run. Taking a little bit of a wider line here, coming into the last section. Risking a little bit away for a little more speed. And let's see if the gamble pays off as he tucks for the finish line and takes the lead by 0.57 seconds, so 2.08, 63. Currently the best time of men's giant slalom standing category. Thomas Phil up next, number 37. LW92. There was some spray on that critical part, but let's see if he can take the speed. Oh, a really ugly fall there for Thomas Phil. Hopefully he's all right. Let's see if Thomas is okay. He lost both of his skis and hopefully his knees are fine. As we're watching the next competitor, Mitch Gurley from Australia. Phil still sitting near the finish line as Mitch Gurley makes his way down through the difficult section, so hopefully it's all going to be alright for both racers. He's now coming into the last pitch. Let's see how he does. Now charging past people helping Phil, and Mitch Gurley crosses the finish line, taking the lead of 0.89 seconds and the current first place. We're on to number 32, Thomas Walsh. He started off the run with a point, so 300ths of a second only in front of Gurley, but some problems there for Walsh. And let's see if that is going to be enough. Phil still getting picked up near the finish area, as you see, as Thomas Walsh charges past him. And it's only going to be enough for 5th place. So this is how close this category is, as Thomas Walsh takes 5th at the moment. Christoph Bernhard Schneider from Austria. A little bit more of a cushion for him, as he was ahead by 0.78 in the first run. Coming closer and closer to the finish line. Let's see. And another competitor already on course, Alexis Guimont. He was leading the group after the first run. He had a 2.09 second cushion coming into this run. And let's see if he can keep it and take another medal for Team Canada today. Some problems and sucked off a little bit of the ideal line, but let's see if that is enough indeed for the medal. Yes, he makes it, so he keeps the same distance from the competitors as in the first run and is going to take gold today. So 2.13. So the final results of this category: Alexis Guimont in first, Bernhard Schneider, Christoph Bernhard Schneider from Austria in second, and Mitch Gurley from Australia in third. So it's a very... Alexis Guimont takes it by almost 2 seconds, a very big lead for the category, as we now await the final group of the day, the men giant slalom sitting second run. And the race in that category has already started. Murat Pelli out of Switzerland. Number 73 is starting it off. 15th place for him after the first run. Slight difference from the FIS World Cup competitions. Here the 15 best competitors start from 15th to the first place, and then the rest follow. So it's another 30 like in the FIS World Cups, as Murat Pelli now clears the middle section. See how well he does on that one. some problems for him. Lost quite a lot of speed coming into the final pitch. We'll see how that will show on time and his placement today, but for the meantime he manages to keep balance and going for that finish line. Finishes it with a combined time of 2:23.10. That's 2:23.10 is the time to beat. And up next, USA's Yasmin Bamber. Bamber in LW 11, placed 14th in the first run, and his cushion on Peli was over 2 seconds. So with his skiing, it might be enough for him to keep that lead, but we'll see, as he needs to still make a few turns before actually finishing with his course, pointing the outrigger. And so 2:18.07, 5-second lead for Bamber, who is currently sitting in first. And now the 13th placed Kurt Otway. You can see how clean these skiers ski. Practically no spray except for when they get swiped off the ideal line, and really good skiing from the group as a whole. And Kurt Otway bringing a lot of speed in that final part. So let's see how that goes for him. Pointing the outriggers and takes on the first place by 4.54 seconds in front of Bamber from USA and Murapeli from Switzerland. Up next, Akira Kano from Japan. He was number 12 after the first run. Also good skiing through that S-bend, and now onto the final pitch. A little low on that gate, but he takes it on in the next couple of gates, picking up the outriggers. And it's not going to be enough to take Kurt Otway out. Second place right now for Akira Kano, as we're now on to René de Silvestro. From Italy in the 12-1 category, trying to beat down the time of Kurt Otway. René de Silvestro, slight problems there on the top of the finish pitch. That took some speed off his skiing, but will it be enough to beat out Kurt Otway from Canada? Yes, it will, by 1.47 seconds. De Silvestro is currently in the lead and awaiting the guy who starts off the top 10, Stephen Lawler from USA. Lawler posting some good skiing here. Nice inclines and a lot of speed, especially through that middle section. But how fast he will be, we'll see right now when he crosses the finish line. So it's not going to be enough. 2.23 seconds behind De Silvestro, and that's third place right now for Stephen Lawler. And another American following him, Joshua Elliott, is going to try to dethrone the Italian off the leading spot in the men giant slalom sitting category. Joshua Elliott, an LW 12-2 category, double amputee, taking a lot of speed. Look at that line. Let's see how fast he will be, tucking in the arms. And he takes the lead by 1.82 seconds. Joshua Elliott currently sitting in first with, I think, 8 races to go. Markus Vaterhofer from Austria. Vaterhofer now onto the last pitch, a 10-1 category, and let's see if he can make it and how fast. It's not going to be enough to beat out Elliott, but it will be enough for currently the third spot. Jesper Pedersen from Norway. He had a 0.4 cushion from the first run, and let's see if he can put it to good use, because Joshua Elliott really made a brilliant performance today on the second run. Really clean skiing, especially through this section here, going through the S-bend. Joshua Elliott really took a lot of speed through there, and it's going to take some very fast skiing to get him out of that top spot. So Jesper is trying to push himself through the finish line, and it's not enough. Second place currently for Jesper Pedersen, 1.39 seconds behind Joshua Elliott, who's still in lead. Jeroen Kamscher from the Netherlands up next. He had a 1.17 cushion heading into the second run. A young skier known for clean skiing and pretty aggressive line. So it should be an interesting matchup right now, as Jeroen nears the finish line, tucking it in, trying to save as much speed, and he takes the lead by 0.66 seconds. Georg Kreiter up next, the German. In the 10-1 category, taking a similar line to the one of Joshua Elliott. but let's see if it's enough to beat Jeroen Kampschreur from the Netherlands. Pushing himself through the finish line now. Kruijder is currently sitting in third spot. As we await a couple more competitors, Taiki Mori. He had exactly a second on Jeroen Kampschreur in the first run. Also a very aggressive skier. Look at that line. Taking a lot of speed through there. And it should be an interesting matchup as Taiki Mori bumps off some speed there, but as he crosses the finish line, it is enough, and Taiki Mori from Japan takes the first place by 2.36 seconds. Roman Rabel from Austria up next. Only a couple hundred separating the two in the first run. Going through our middle section. Also a lot of speed, but some problems as well. We'll see how that plays out in the end. Roman Ravel tucking it in, and no, not enough. Second place right now for Roman Ravel. 99 hundredths of a second behind the leading Taiki Mori. Andrew Kurka from Alaska up next. Andrew Kurka really fast skiing going into that. You can see he enjoys the speed. Let's see the results. The run only puts Kurka up in 8th. So 8th position for Andrew Kurka. Tyler Walker up next. Still waiting for Tyler Walker to start. You saw him warming up. Two American coaches accompanying him at the start as he pushes off. He had a 1.06 second advantage coming into that second run. Waiting for Tyler now in the middle section. There he goes. Really extreme angles out of Tyler Walker. In a very aggressive line. Let's see how he stacks up in the S-bend. Seems to have taken quite a lot of speed there. And as clean as anybody else, so it should be an interesting matchup now as he crosses the finish line and he takes the first place. So now we're out of the top 15 and onto the 16th ranked competitor in the first run. Enrique Plante from Argentina. Enrique Plante now headed into the last section. Some problems for the Argentinian. He will continue, I think, but he has no. So a DNF right on the last pitch for the Argentinian. And we're now moving on to 72. Mark Sawyer from Australia. Mark Sawyer going through that section and into the gates where Enrique Plante crashed. Passes through it. A little bit low on the line, but let's see how he does today. Mark Sawyer is gonna wrap it up with a 15th spot at the moment. So that's going to be a top 15 finish. And now we're on to the last race of the day. Jarnej Slivnik from Slovenia. It was his first World Cup performance today. Jarnej is 16 years old and lives about 15-20 kilometers out of Kranjska Gora. So it's a very important race for him as he now goes into the last section. Couple of turns left. Ooh, and rolls it. Now pushing his way back into the course. And crossing the finish line. That's going to be the 17th place for Jarnej Slivnik. And as we wrap up today's men giant slalom sitting category with the results. Tyler Walker from USA takes first, Taiki Mori of Japan takes second, and Roman Ravel of Austria takes third. Thank you very much for watching the Kranjska Gora Para-Alpine Skiing World Cup Giant Slalom. We will be back tomorrow with another race, with a Para-Alpine Skiing World Cup Slalom race. So hopefully we will see you then. Thank you very much and goodbye.